Greetings, punks, goths, metalheads, Herberts, Herbetters, Martians and subterranean folks. My name's John and this is the Health Anarchist channel. Well, today I'm going to chat about what it was like in the 80s and 90s for us alternative people. And when I say alternative people, I mean like punks, goths, metalheads mainly, because that's my main experience of subcultures, and particularly being punk. So when I talk about the 80s, I'm talking about the late 80s. I left school in 88. I was already into punk at the time. I was sort of into metal quite a lot before that, then I got more into punk. So I remember when I got my first Mohawk cut at the age of 16, and before I knew how to dye it and colour it, I used to get that spraying stuff, just like spray colour on your hair, and it was green. And I can remember from that age I used to get a lot of abuse from other people my own age, mainly people a bit older, calling me a freak, and that seemed to be the going thing, calling punks or alternative people freaks. You know, I had a green mohawk and I had like my nose pierced at the age of 16, and I wore all my punk clothes, and yeah, that seemed to be the most common. It seemed to be in vogue at the time, was to call us freaks. And occasionally I used to get people come up to me and go, "What are you supposed to be?" You know, trying to be funny, but also a bit puzzled as well. But yeah, I used to get it a lot, people shouting stuff out of cars or from the other side of the road. Usually when they was in a bigger group than me. If I was on my own and there's a bigger group of lads my own age, you get like freak shouted at you across the road. But to be honest, when you've been into a subculture, especially one where you dress quite differently, you get used to it. You develop a very thick skin, you know, after a couple of years. And like nowadays, you know, I don't even notice it at all. You just kind of blank it out, you know, when people are staring at you and giving you funny looks because of the way you look. You just become immune to it. But back in the 80s, yeah, you got a lot of nasty name calling, you know, and there was worse than freaks. Sometimes it was mixed in with a few swear words as well. So at that age of being 16 or 17, I actually got attacked about 4 times, physically attacked. And it was always by men who were over 40, like men in the 40s typically. And if you think about it, I was a really skinny 16, 17-year-old kid, and I looked like a kid at the time. I mean, I had my punk hair and my clothes, but I looked like a kid. And there's these 40-year-old men attacking me, like trying to punch me and stuff. And what was it that they thought was so offensive or challenged their beliefs so much about a young 16, 17-year-old kid that they think it's okay to physically attack them? So the first couple of times I just stood there, I didn't know what to do, like 40-year-old men attacking me. And I just stood there whilst they punched me. Then after a couple of times I started getting sick of it, and I thought, no, why should I? And I started fighting back. One of them, even when I started fighting back, he was going, no, I was only messing about, I didn't mean it. But yeah, because I fought back and he wasn't expecting it. And every time since then, as I've got older, if anyone's ever tried to attack me, as soon as someone swings a punch at me, I'll fight back every time, without a doubt. I hate fighting, but I'm not going to stand there and let people attack me for nothing. So yeah, hopefully I won't have to deal with that stuff anymore, but that's just how it is. I can also remember a time not that far from then, when I was a little bit older, when I was about 18, and I started trying to go to pubs, and it was very common at the time, being a punk rocker, you'd go into a pub and they go, no punks, I'm not serving you. Or I'd go in there and one of the staff had served me, like one of the barmaids, and then the landlord would come round and see that there was a punk in his pub, and he'd go, finish your drink and go. And that was quite common, it wasn't just one-offs. Thankfully that doesn't happen a lot now these days, but you know, things are a lot better in general for that sort of thing. So at the time when these things were happening, I thought it was really unfair, and I was just expressing myself through the music and the look that I wanted to have. It was just me being myself, and yet people were attacking me for it, calling me a freak because I dared to be different. And I think that's what it is about. I think it's because you rock their calm waters of tranquility, of everything which they think, you know, is the norm, and you chuck a great big brick into their pond of tranquility, and people get upset and angry and nasty about it. Well, they did back then, and I think they still do to an extent, but not as much. I think after the Sophie Lancaster campaign, things have got a lot better. People have got more educated. There's talks going around in schools and colleges about this sort of thing. And I do remember being really upset at the time, and it really bothered me, thinking, why are people treating me like this, you know, just for the way I dress? And, you know, it was like that, though. It was bad. So eventually things got a little bit better. In the 90s, I was hanging around with, you know, big groups of my own subculture, other punks. You know, I was a bit older, in my 20s, and people didn't seem to bother me as much then. And it makes you think those people that did attack me when I was a young teenager, they were just boys, like cowardly boys. And as soon as I was hanging around with other punks, you know, and there's a group of us, people never used to bother me. We still got the thing of, like, we'd go into pubs and people wouldn't want to serve us, but things slowly got better through the 90s and onwards. But certainly at the beginning to the mid-90s, people were still being off and treating you with prejudice, though because I was older, they wouldn't do it as openly to my face as what they were when I was a young teen. So if we go forwards to nowadays, things are a lot better. As I said, things have been taught a lot in school. People are far more educated. You still do get it in some sort of more remoter places. Some little villages and stuff, I've been to pubs, and, you know, they've been a bit weird with us. They've been okay, but a bit like, oh, here's the Halloween people. When a group of us walk in, that was when I went on a group walk with the walking group I'm in. It was like, yeah, here's the Halloween people. But they weren't too bad once they realised we were human beings and not Martians or something like that. But I do get occasionally people being weird. I've been out walking in my alternative gear, and I've had farmers like coming up questioning me, asking me what I'm doing and stuff, and, you know, just being a bit weird. But apparently there's quite a few female alternative friends that I have that still experience prejudice, even from going on the bus and that. There are people going, why have you got all piercings in your face? You'd look better without those. So I guess alternative women probably still get quite a lot more, and maybe not so much the alternative men, but that's just from my own experiences, what I've been told, you know, from other people. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video today. If you did enjoy it, please give us a like and a subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video. Take care now. Bye.